This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Gusto yung sundalo dyan para makatabang sa kapwa kuan ba, kapwa sundalo.
This documentary is about antisocial or illegal behavior by children or adolescents. Juvenile delinquency is participation in illegal behavior of minors. Lord of the Lost, his kingdom is the highway, eyes wide open, quick on run. Some call them saints, others call them thugs. He is Angelo, and he is Richard. Davao City is known as the durian capital of the Philippines and the city of royalties. San Pedro Davao City is the Batang Hamog's paradise. Each one of them is busy. Streets are their home. They do whatever they want. We meet these two friends, namely Angelo and Richard. We're best friends in sniffing rugby inside a plastic bag along the streets in San Pedro, Davao City.
Ilan na edad ninyo?
Ako dos 13.
Asa mo nag-kuya ka?
Dali lang ko Magallanes.
Nag-eskwela pa po? Undang na ka?
Undang ko.
Anong ni-undang na ninyo?
Walang kapo na kayo.
What grade na unta mo? Grade 5 unta ka ikaw? Karon kay usa may inyong kalingawan karon?
May tambay lang.
May tambay. Nagakaon mo sa inyong balay 3 times a day?
Dili, namay mga tag-drip ka, harap ka sa hapit ng Pasko, namay mga tag.
Mga tagpagkaon.
Pagabuntag sa'yo kay mga tumay kerwan, mga may isda. Kanya, baka na mga kuan ba? Natutumi karanderya pag hapon. Nangayog doko, karanderya. Ang mga kuan ba, sabaw-sabaw. Gabi, sa may ginitap. Salat, pasugo may balis. Anda, bulka tayo, upat kapak. Ayahay na.
Dito ba sa inyong mga ginikanan po?
Ako kan, mama nagminyo na maglayan ng mama.
Nagminyo yung mga
Nasa makilala.
ibang papa?
Napa diyan, trabaho kay kuan.
Si trabaho sa
Nagapalasto.
Kasko. Karon baklas-baklas ka mo diri wala ka na Dili na sa hindi ba wala naman mo nag-eskwela no. Napa may pangarap sa buhay kana. So gusto nimo
Mangarap din ako sa sundalo.
sundalo jud gusto nimo. Pero ano sundalo man inyong gusto?
Hindi ka pwede sundalo sa kapwa.
Man ako'y pangutana karon usay maingon di ninyo sa mga pulis dira nagaronda diri sa
Kayawa.
mga
Kayawa sa kalibutan.
anong yawa man sila sa kalibutan do.
Sa isa ka.
Nadakop naman sa pulis.
Wala ko sila. Dapat sa kurang botbol. Wala ba?
Police is one of their greatest enemy in the place. According to the DSWD, they are the children in conflict with the law, meaning these children may have problems with the law, but it doesn't necessarily mean they are guilty of the offense charged against them. The law demands that a child be treated differently from an adult, especially when the crimes are minor. Each city is required to establish youth home for the care of children in conflict with the law. Balay Pasilungan is care center for street children. It started 25 years ago.
First apo nagsugod ang Balay Pasilungan.
Kanos nagsugod. Nag-start ang foundation of Balay Pasilungan way back on the year of 1989. It was sometimes of May 4, 1989 siya nag-start.
So, dili siya na place.
Now, nag-start ni siya in a small village, no, in a small, like boarding house, just like a house or apartment, something like that, very small. Para lang siya boarding house, somewhere in Claveria. Ang term is Barrio 60. And then, pag-abot sa time nga nanay fans, so nagpalit og property diri, so maning nana diri.
So, kung mga na-fans, or kinsa man ang nag-fan sa ato ang
Sa foundation, usually, ang first good na mga donors nato lokal lang, ikan lang diri sa Philippines, like the PCSO.
This is a story of street and about these two boys who was once a child, eyes wide open, quick on run, maybe saint, maybe a thug.
My name is Elizabeth Kaufman. I'm in the Psychology and Social Behavior Department in the School of Social Ecology. The main focus of my research is on adolescent development, how kids change, how they develop over time, and that really informs or provides the court with a foundation for better understanding how to treat kids within the system. So a lot of my work is on when should kids be tried as adults, are they competent to stand trial, what are the right responses that the justice system should have to kids during this developmental time period. So a lot of my research centers on, if adolescents are so smart, why do they do such stupid things? A lot of kids end up making very immature decisions and better trying to understand what that disconnect is. So recent advances in neuroscience have shown that the brain is continuing to develop up until the age of 25. And that's particularly in the area of the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for impulse control, planning, future orientation. Given that this is the last part of the brain to develop, it's not surprising that kids are more impulsive, don't think through their actions. And this is important because in the research we've been doing, we've found that kids are much more responsive to rewards than they are to punishments. For instance, we've been following kids for the past 7 years. These are serious adolescent offenders. These are offenders who've committed very heinous crimes. And a lot of people think that if you've committed a serious crime, you must be a serious offender and that life is over, that this is a person that cannot be rehabilitated. And what we wanted to do was look at what predicts who stops offending, who desists from criminal activity. A lot of people look at the predictors of what gets kids into crime. Very few people look at what gets kids out of crime. One of the things we know from our findings is that as kids mature, the more likely they are to stop offending. The most exciting way that I've seen my research impact policy is having the Supreme Court take up the issue of the death penalty for juvenile offenders. It's hard to believe that the United States was one of the last countries to still execute their children. So my research not only impacted the abolishment of the juvenile death penalty, but it also was involved in the recent 2010 abolishment of life without the possibility of parole for non-homicide cases for juvenile offenders. And to know that my research had an impact on the policies of this country was very exciting. We're starting a new study called Crossroads. They were interested in looking at whether kids who are formally processed, that is, they go through the regular court system, maybe are incarcerated, versus kids who are informally processed, that is, diverted, given maybe community service or some community-based response. So we're going to look, as they get older, what the educational, mental health, emotional, as well as economic impact of all of these factors are on kids who are formally punished or informally processed through the system. Because what you do to a kid at this age has a long-term impact on what they're going to do as an adult. So it's really important to know what the system does so that we can look long-term to how they're going to behave as an adult. And I think that's one of the goals of research is once we better understand how kids are changing, what their needs are, can we design a system that's more developmentally appropriate to meet those needs?